All right, so that's a lot of hours to be flying, right?
Yeah.
So I have to ask, aliens, UFOs that you can't explain. Like, have
Yeah.
you ever encountered in all the years? Because you've been flying a lot,
Yeah.
and as you know, in the last couple of years, there's been a load
Yeah.
of things that have come out of footage from military aircraft, civilian aircraft, just with technology and cameras and everything being what they are. Like, have you ever come across anything?
I
Like,
have.
dude, what do you got to tell us? What
Yeah. And so, first of all, I'll say I was one of those guys that sort of, listen to those Navy pilots talk about aliens and stuff and be like,
this fucking
man, you're
guy.
giving us bad name. But it was just a couple years before I retired. I was flying a day air-to-air training mission with my wingmen over the Gulf of Mexico. So we took off out of New Orleans, and we were just doing 1v1 dogfighting. And good weather, daytime, and I'm pulling up. I'm looking up, probably 1 or 2 o'clock out of the canopy at my wingman, who's pointed back towards my 6 o'clock, and I see something go right by the canopy, right, and instinctively I duck, thinking it's a bird or something, but I realize I'm way too high for a bird. So then my logical brain says, okay, this is a glare off the canopy or something. So I'm gonna keep fighting. My wingman says, "Did you just see that?" I'm like, "I saw something." So he called a knock it off, and a knock it off means the fight's over. And he goes, "I'm gonna chase it." And I was like, "Okay." So he goes back. I turn around. We have our radars out. We have we have training missiles that are infrared scanning. Can't find it. We circled the whole area. Could not find anything. And so now I'm convinced like it's a weather balloon or something, right? We go back to base and we're debriefing it, and I'm trying to debunk it the whole time. And we get the models out, and we're okay, if we're like this and we're moving this fast and some things, and he's like, "Dude, this thing went by your jet, turned and followed you." And I was like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "I didn't know that part."
So is that on radar?
No, that was just with his eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys have the equivalent of dash cams?
We do. We don't always turn them on. In fact, 9 times out of 10 in the reserves, we wouldn't turn them on because it's just one more thing for us to carry and forget. So, yeah. But yeah, so we were talking about it, and a guy in the squadron said, "Hey, one of my buddies works for O&I, and they're trying to stand up this big thing at the Pentagon for trying to figure out what these things are. There's a whole form you fill out." We're like, "Really? Okay." So we go into the classified, we go to the skiff and get the form, fill out all the information, send it off, thinking like, I'm never going to hear from this again. The next day, we got a call from a guy at the Pentagon that was like heading up this whole UAP program, and he's like, "I want to give your squadron a classified brief." And we're like, "Really?" My skipper came to me and said, "Dude, if I see little green men in this brief, I'm gonna be so excited." Yeah, I mean, bottom line is they're trying to, they don't know what it is, and they're trying to demystify it so that people aren't embarrassed about reporting it, because we're the military. We need to be reporting this stuff. We need to find out what it is.
Yeah. So there's no footage of this encounter, right?
No, I have no footage of it.
And from your wingman's recollection is that it flew past you, turned around, and followed you.
Yeah.
How did he see more of it than you did?
Yeah, he said he described it the same way I did, which is kind of like a white ball, maybe tic tac shape, which fits with some of the other recollections. That's what I see, was a white kind of spherical shape go by. He said it was about 2/3 the size of my jet. I don't recall it being that big, so it could have been a perspective thing. Yeah. But I just, caught just a very quick blur go by.
And none of it shows up on radar.
Yeah. And we circled the whole area, couldn't find anything.
Dude, that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's your take on that? And do you know any other guys that you know well that have had strange encounters that have told you about them?
A handful of people. I've run into a handful of people who have, whether it be military flying or civilian flying, that have seen things, usually lights that that are behaving strangely. It's definitely, people are talking about it more, but it's something that interests me. And ironically, kind of the beginning of my book, I base on an incident that took place off of Southern California, where there were lights that were swirling a Navy destroyer off the coast, and the FBI got involved. They were trying to figure out where these things came from, and were they commercial drones? What were they? And so it got me thinking, like, what could it be? Personally, could it be little green men? Sure, but I like to think that it's probably some hostile country that's doing something that's intelligence gathering related. But then again, some of the ways they behave don't fit with physics. And
well, yeah, that's the thing that, to me, like, it doesn't seem like any other country could possibly be that advanced.
Right.
I mean, if China is stealing stuff from us and Russia,
yeah,
I mean, maybe they could be more advanced, but not that much more advanced.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, to me, it's weird shit, and I agree. Like, it seems like faux pas wise, we're mystification, like it's becoming less and less. Oh, look at this fucking kook,
right.
Because so many fucking people that otherwise, that again are pilots that are, that aren't some dude living in a fucking trailer in the Mid-South or whatever that has 3 teeth and hopped up on fucking God knows what. And it's like, yeah, I swear I got picked up by something. You're like, yeah, okay, buddy.
Yeah, sure you did.
But now there's like hundreds or at least dozens of people that it's like, dude's got his shit together, it's a military pilot, whatever, that are like, I can't fucking explain this.
Yeah.
Do you think it's, if you had to make a decision on it?
Yeah, I mean, my theory, and this would be not based on anything at all scientific, but, we have Area 51, right? And whether or not we have alien UFOs, whatever it's reasonable to think that there might be other places around the world that do, maybe in Russia, maybe in China. So maybe they're using some of that technology. I don't think we have aliens that are, observing 2 F-18s fighting over the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
Could it be alien tech that's flown by, a hostile, country? Sure. Personally, I think aliens, might come by our planet and lock the doors. You know what I'm saying? Like driving through the wrong part of town. Yeah. So that's my belief. I will say that, I can't say what was in the classified brief. It was nothing like super exciting, and probably more of it has been released in Congress now than when I had that brief. But there was a lot of stuff that could not be explained, and that was the bottom line: is we don't know what it is.
Yeah, man, that's fucking. It's a weird mix of, like, it's kind of exciting and scary at the same fucking time. Like, growing up in the '80s, seeing like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I mean, and granted, like, I rewatched that movie here fairly recently, and it's laughable.
Yeah.
That, like, how ridiculous the movie technology is. Like, it's just stupid. You watch it and you're like, holy fuck, how is this even a movie? But nowadays, and then that's the other thing too that makes it difficult, is that with AI and CGI and everything else, like, the shit that people can manufacture.
Oh yeah.
Video wise, like, I have no idea if that's real or not.
Right.
And pick something. I mean, it can be anything. It can be human beings doing things. It can be people who who they are, that's not who they, it's made to look like a celebrity doing something that's not even them. I mean, there's so many things that.
Yeah, you just can't trust your own eyes anymore.
Yeah, it's tricky shit.